Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and we're going to rant about the Leviathan today. I can't even get words out of my mouth. I'm so pissed off right now. This fleet is abysmal. It is performing terribly, and I feel bad for every single player that unlocked this fleet, but particularly the players who spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars waiting for this ship to be the new meta-defining fleet in Galaxy of Heroes, and instead you have friggin' Holdo and the Resistance autoing this fleet on defense. I mean, it's crazy to me how horrible this fleet is on defense. And even offensively, it's struggling against current meta ships. So let's dive right in. We're going to talk about problems with this fleet. We're going to be ranting about capital games and just how cold and calculated this move was of release date, even the time of the release, right? Everything. Let's get in. But first, let's thank my channel members for their continued support of this channel. You guys are amazing. If you guys want to be able to support this channel for free, all you need to do is subscribe. If you're interested in joining channel memberships, link in the description down below. Let's get right in. Let's talk about this Leviathan problem. All right. This fleet just sucks, right? It sucks. And there's a bunch of problems with this fleet. There's a bunch of problems, right? So we'll look at that. But I want to talk about the release date. They released this during a GAC, on a GAC attack day at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Who is always streaming their GAC attacks around that time? Oh, I don't know. The biggest content creator in the game, Arnold, is. Oh, well, we don't really like him, but he always tests all of our stuff that comes out, so we'll be able to find out all the problems when we do that. I mean, it just, like, tell me that doesn't make sense to them. You released it during GAC, so that way you knew if there was problems, it gave you time to fix them before the vast majority of the player base had a chance to really take, like, any benefit or loss because of this ship, right? That if this happened before GAC lock-in, you'd have a week of this ship sucking in GAC, and that would piss all of us off way more than it currently does right now. So, like, cold and calculated on their part. But then the timing of it at 3 o'clock Eastern Standard tells you everything you need to know, that they perfectly planned this so that way Arnold was streaming and could test it for them right away. I mean, and it's absurd to me that we have no communication 24 hours later that, oh, we're looking into the way it's performing. And that the only communication we got is that, oh, guess what? The Mark 6 Interceptor can delete capital ships. How was this not at all looked at? Like, this is crazy. Like, what do you do? You get paid to do a job and you're not doing it. Like, just, if you can't test this, reach out to any 10 idiots in the community, myself included in that. Any 10 idiots could have found this out in 5 minutes of playing with this ship. It's absurd. And it's so messed up. This is one of the worst, like, day one releases that Galaxy of Heroes has seen. This, like, Lord Vader was not performing this poorly. It blows my mind. Blows my mind. So let's talk about the problems that this fleet has. Number one is the Falcon problem, right? The Millennium Falcon is basically the counter to this fleet for multiple reasons. Let's go first to the fact that you get outmaneuvered and you can't be, countered, right? You can't be countered and you can't be targeted. Right? It's crazy. But, like, that's the case, right? You can't be targeted. So this ship just kind of sits there and hides, right? It's got dispel buffs on the basic if the allied ship is a rebel. Well, Profundity is a rebel, so it's going to dispel all the buffs. So any bonuses that you're getting from there, the Falcon's just taking them away right away. And then finally, the worst part of it is right in here. Whenever a rebel ally is inflicted with 3 or more debuffs, the Falcon dispels all debuffs on them. The whole point of the Sith fleet is debuffs. And you have a ship here that can't be targeted, and it's going to sit there, can't be targeted, but it's going to passively do all of the things you need it to do to counter this fleet. How is this not thought of? How is there not something to say like, oh, certain buffs can't be dispelled, or when buffs are dispelled, this happens, or that, like, do something. But this is asinine to me that this wasn't tested. It's very clear that it wasn't, because this was like the first fight that I saw. I was like, wow, I can't land any of these debuffs because the Falcon's just dispelling them. Like, that is just, that is absolutely absurd to me. That is, like, the case of this ship, right? That is the problem with the Rebel fleet right there. They're dispelling all of those debuffs, and it's, again, absurd. All right, next one, breach immunity. So my problem here is that with the Executor, right, the breach immunity that you can land with Leviathan is target Sith ally gains it for 3 turns. Now, that's not a big deal, right? You think, okay, the target Sith, well, there's going to be a taunting tank. Well, the Razor Crest can ignore taunt effects during its turn. So I'm sorry, but I'm just going to ignore your taunt, go around you, and go target someone else, right? That breach is going to land, and then guess what? Next turn, I'm going to come around, mark that ship, and just work my way around that, Sith bomber. I like that. Come on now. That's not that difficult. Like, just... that breach immunity would be so much better if it was a single turn or 2 turns for the whole fleet. But on a single character, on a single ship, to me, that's a mistake. Because that fleet is too good, right? It's too good offensively that you're going to be able to work around that, right? It truly is too good of a fleet to be able to work around. This is asinine to me that this, like, and again, I want to reiterate, I don't feel bad. I don't know if I said this, but I'm just so angry. Like, I can't, that I feel bad for the players who spent hundreds and hundreds of dollars getting this ship to 7 stars, hundreds of dollars on Relic 9s to be able to be like, I'm going to get this meta-defining fleet finally, and I can climb in Fleet Arena. Hey, those are the guys I feel bad for. I am not that up in arms for players like myself who did the bare minimum required to get this fleet, right? Like, I am not somebody who is sitting here like, oh, woe is me. Like, no. I am pissed off for all the people that spent their hard-earned money for a meta-defining fleet and for it to come out and be worse on defense than the Resistance fleet. I mean, like, I just go and look up videos of this fleet, and it's terrible. It's terrible. And I mean, and there's other problems, right? So those are the 2 problems with, like, the meta fleets. I'm not even going into the rest of the fleets there, right? Just the meta fleets right there. That's the problem, right? The Millennium Falcon is doing everything this fleet needs it to. And then for bounty hunters, it's the fact that they're going to be able to work around any of these taunts because the breach immunity is on a single friggin' ship. All right, and then there's the 7-star problem. And this is something that they did with Marin, and they're doing it now again with Leviathan, where one of the key elements of this ship is gated behind 7 stars. And I want to be clear on what I mean by that. So, when you go into the Leviathan, in the kit here, right, this Sabotage the Hangars, the level 8 ability, right, it says all this stuff, right, and then it says inflict capital ship sabotage on all enemies until the end of the encounter, next enemy and reinforcement, or seize the bridge is used. And then it says capital ship sabotage. The next allied ship called to reinforce is immediately destroyed upon deployment. Let's just, like, think here for a second, right? So that is gated behind being 7 stars. That is gated behind being 7 star. You need a 7-star ship to be able to do this. And why am I bringing that up? Like, oh, well, Phil, there's always, abilities that the best part of it is locked behind 7 stars. Correct. But this bleeds into the next part of the Leviathan problem. And that is the fact that there is no damage on this fleet. There is no real damage output on this fleet. There's not a single really solid way for damage to happen on this fleet. And it's absurd and insane to me that there's not this damage, like, that there's not enough damage on this fleet. But there truly isn't. There's not, it's like wet noodles everywhere. And so now you've gated, like, the advantage of having this ship at 7 star, right? That ship comes in, reinforcement, first reinforcement comes in, it gets destroyed. And then you bring in your reinforcement, and now it's a 4-on-3. So I understand that you want to lock certain things behind 7 stars, but when you have a damage problem on this fleet as it is, and now you're locking the one mechanism for defeating ships behind 7 star, like, just come out and just make this a 7-star unlock then. Like, what's the point? Like, that ability is not that good then. Because all of the advantage of it is the fact that it makes it a 4-on-3 situation with a fleet that's hitting with pasta. Like, I cannot fathom that this ship was properly tested, that this kit was properly tested. Because when you read this kit, right, when you read what this ship is supposed to do and the way they made it seem, that this was supposed to be a walk-in against Profundity and Executor. And it's not even close to that. Don't even get me started on how horrible the AI is on defense. Don't even get me started on it. I really, really struggle with this fleet right now. Because it was supposed to be good. I mean, you're hearing reports of 4-star Profundities beating a 7-star Leviathan. Just imagine when Executor was released, if a 7-star Executor was losing to a 5-star Negotiator. That's the equivalent of what this is. That is not okay. That Holdo is able to auto this. Like, you bring Holdo on offense, you go up against Leviathan, and Holdo's autoing it. I mean, what? Like, what world is that? A meta-defining fleet. So you need to solve this, Capital Games. This is not okay. Like, this is the... I 1000% believe this is still the worst ever day one performance of anything. At least Lord Vader, we didn't have his full team yet. And don't even get me started on, oh, well, there's another ship we're going to be releasing that's going to make this great. No, 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 no. This was the fleet to use. Fix it, because it's unacceptable. You could pick any 10 idiots that play this game to test this fleet for free, and they would be honored to do it for the rest of the player base. Any 10 people would do it. It took 5 minutes for people to realize that this fleet was trash in Fleet Arena. So fix it. You have one job. One job. Do it. Don't rely on your player base who's spent all of this money to get these things and then have to go through the work and waiting around for you to figure out how to make something what it's supposed to do in the first place. Like, oh my gosh, again, reiterating, I'm pissed off for the players that spent money on this fleet. Because you think about it, let's say you're thinking, oh, should I have gone for Profundity or maybe I go for Leviathan, and then you're like, oh, I'm pretty close to Leviathan. Okay, I just need to spend some money and I'm going to get there. Like, those people are sitting there. Like, I saw on the forums yesterday, people were like, where can I get my vault back for this? And I don't blame them for asking that question. I do not blame any single person for asking the question of, will I get compensated for the fact that this ship is terrible? Because it's not what you advertised, right? If Lamborghini goes and advertises that they have the fastest car in the world, and then you go and drive it and it maxes out at 120 miles an hour, you're going to be pissed off. Because that's not even close to what, any other car can do. So, yeah. Fix this. It needs to be done, and communication needs to be happening right now. Like, just put it out there right away. Not working as intended. We're looking into it. We apologize. If you have any questions, like, gosh, this is not difficult. I mean, like, there's not even anything positive to say about this because it's just like, I mean, I want to say so many more things, but I'll get demonetized for it. But fix this right now. Like, this should be your number one priority. The fact that the Mark 6 Interceptor can target capital ships is minimal. That is a minimal thing compared to what this is. Right? Because offensively, this fleet should be a shoo-in every single fight. That's the way you described it, was that this was a shoo-in every single fight. So it shouldn't matter whether I have to target their capital ship or play it the way it's intended. Fix this now. It's unacceptable. And you guys should, like, Capital Games, you should be ashamed. If I submitted work that was this poorly to my boss, I would feel ashamed of myself. So, fix this now. This is a disaster. We deserve better. Wow. I don't even know if that made me feel better, guys. Yeah. Look, we're tired of this. I'm tired. I'm so fed up with the constant, like, not working as intended, or there's bugs, or we're aware of this issue. Like, just come out and admit that you want us to test these things. Just a little bit of honesty would go a long way. So, I don't know, guys. That's Leviathan. That's what's going on in Fleet Arena. I mean, it's embarrassing. And it's sad, right? It's sad. Yeah. I mean, like, people are, like, targeting these fleets. Yeah. This is Fat Phil. I'm going to get off here before I say something that will actually demonetize me. Please like and subscribe, comment down below, and I'll see you on the next video, guys. Cheers.